Welcome back to another Financial Newbie video. So we are in lesson 3 of module 2. So I wanted to do this video for those of you that may have questions. Okay, Paul. All right, so I hear everything that you're saying. Everything sounds great, but how do I track and adjust my goals, right? How do I track everything? So that's what I wanted to go through today. So the importance of monitoring financial progress, how regular tracking keeps you on course, and what tools and stuff. So we've talked about why it's important to track it, but how do you actually do it? So when it comes to your cash flow, you can use spreadsheets. There are spreadsheets within Microsoft Excel. There are apps that you can download. You can even use if you're part of here, you're working with me, but you can also get a financial advisor that specializes in just helping you with your cash flow. Rocket Money is an app that I've talked about in here that I think is good for you to utilize. It's very similar to Mint.com that I talked about in there. And so when you're looking at that, it's just making sure that in the areas of your budget that you're staying as close to that limit and not going over as possible, so that when you have free money that's left over after all of your expected expenses are paid, that you're doing something with it. And then with your savings, how you track your progress is if you are saving the amounts that you need to save, right? And then you can also do maybe once a year, like based on how much you were saved and how much money grew based on interest in the stock market. If that now has impacted how much you need to save, because if you grew really nicely, you may be able to save a little bit less in the next year, or you may want to save more or save the same amount so that as you get closer to the lump sum that you need to save, you're able to retire sooner potentially. So it's good to set up regular check-ins. As I said in one of the other videos, you can do it how often as you want to, daily, weekly, monthly. I think monthly at minimum is good for a cash flow perspective. Quarterly at minimum for financial goals and checking your credit and your debt and things of that nature. Annual reviews are good to get with a financial advisor and schedule like one of those check-ins just to see and have, one of us sit down with you via Zoom or something like that to say, okay, based on where you are now, you're on track for your retirement. You're on track for the college education goal. You're on track for, annual travel. You're on track to increase your credit score to this number. All right. So it's good to do that on a reoccurring basis. So what do you review? Your income and expenses, cash flow, your budget, your net worth, assets minus liabilities. We want those two sets of review. So your income, we will prayerfully it's going up. Expenses, we want to try and keep until you're really on track for your financial goals. Want to try and keep your expenses where they are, not really trying to increase them. We want the surplus, the net income minus expenses. We want that to increase so that we can take that money and add it to our assets, which is essentially going to increase our net worth. And the higher our net worth grows, so remember, net worth is assets minus liabilities. The higher our net worth grows, the more financial options that we have. So if you're looking at those things on a year by year basis, you want to see those things increasing. We don't want to see them stagnant. Now, analyzing financial data. So how do you know if your budgeting is right? So when you assess your budget, you want to look at how you're spending. Where are you spending most of the money? Is most of the money going out the door, meaning that it's not giving you any kind of return? If that's the case, why is that? Is it because it's a need, or is it because of wants? Like, going out to eat is not necessarily a need, it's a want. And it's okay to have wants in there. Maybe going out to eat once or twice a month might be suitable for you, maybe once a month right now. But if you're doing it several times a week, might not be the best financial move, especially if you're not saving what you need to save, right? It's quite possible that if you are spending too much money in gas for your car, maybe you should consider for the short term selling that car, getting a different car with better gas mileage, just so that you can get to where you want to be. Sometimes you got to live like nobody else so that later on you can live like nobody else. but so you just want to make sure that you're, from a budgeting standpoint, that you're sticking to what you said that you're going to do. I'm going to use this amount of money for bills, and we're going to, and then I think it's the next module where we're going to dive deep into different budgeting strategies and how you actually do it. Again, this is kind of like the first two modules, kind of like an overview. Evaluating your investment performance. What's a good investment? What's a bad investment? Well, a good investment is when you look at, I'm not talking about for 1 year, your portfolio did 10%. Then the next year it did -5. And then the following year it was flat. We want to find out, we need an average rate of return when we're accruing wealth. So that average rate of return for you might be 6%. It might be 7%. All right. And so again, when we get into the investment portion, we're going to talk about how you calculate that. But that's how you determine if your investments are doing well or not. You never want to compare your investments to the stock market unless you're going 100 miles per hour, meaning that you have no money in bonds. All of your money is in stocks. And so that's when you can compare yourself to the stock market. But if you are of a person who is of moderate risk and you've got 50% of your money in the stock market, 50% out, it doesn't make sense to say, okay, well, the stock market did 20%, but I only did 10. Well, you should have only done 10 because you're only going half speed compared to the market. I hope that makes sense. And then checking your progress on your debt reduction. Each month, if you're reducing debt, your debt should go down. Your debt should be going down each month. So I say, so that it doesn't work you to death, probably look at it on a quarterly basis. Every quarter, have a to-do set in your phone to look at your debt, and maybe write it down somewhere on a piece of paper, on a spreadsheet. This is where it was Q1. Here's where it is Q2, so that you can see that it's actually going down. That's a milestone. That's something to celebrate. All right. When to adjust your goals and the plans. When to adjust your financial goals is really going to be is going to be driven by the why. What took place that now is either eating up more of your disposable income? What life event just came up? Did I get married? Did I lose my job? Did I get a big inheritance? Doesn't always have to be bad. Maybe I just came into some money. Did I win, $5,000 from a lottery winning or something like that? When does the goals change? It changes based on different circumstances. And so sometimes what people will do is if you're on track for your goals, right? So meaning you got all your goals set up and you've set up the smart piece, and so you know exactly when your debt is going to be paid off. You know that as long as you save the amount of money for retirement, it's going to be there. You got your investment stuff set up. So you're doing what you need to do. And so and any extra money that you have, if you're on track for your financial goals, can go to whatever you want it to go to. So if you're on track and you're okay with that, meaning that you're okay with retiring at 65 or age 60, if that's what your plan has you for, and then you inherit $10,000 or $100,000. If you decide, now I'm not saying you should do this. This would be pretty dumb to do, but if you wanted to blow it, you could, because you're on track for your financial goals. But if you ended up, say, taking 50% of that, or say 75% of that, and applying it to the asset column, and then maybe another 20, another 10% to the debt column of your net worth, that now is going to allow you to reach your financial goals that much sooner, because you're taking money and you're putting it to work. So these are just examples of when to change. When should you change your investments up? It's basically going to be how you felt when you saw your investments drop. That's usually when people will assess their investment risk tolerance. So at the time of this recording, it's in 2024. 2022, the stock market dropped by 25% and the bonds dropped by 18. A lot of people adjusted their risk tolerance at that time because they weren't prepared for what the drop in their money was. Now, what I will tell you is what I told a lot of those people was that you're not adjusting your risk tolerance now. We'll wait till we make our money back, then we'll adjust the risk tolerance. But that's how you'll know, because you may have an emotional response to if you have $100,000 and then you invest it in one point and then you open it up and there's 75 there. People react differently to it. So that's maybe why you want to switch up your investment risk tolerance. Staying motivated and accountable. This is one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to do this community the way that I'm doing it on this school platform. Because when you are feeling down, when you are feeling not motivated, I want the community and the members to help you get remotivated, get refocused. I want you to share your wins. I want you to share your milestones, your achievements. I want you to, hey guys, I'm not feeling, like, I want to, I got this, I'm increasing, my salary just increased. I'm not feeling like I want to save all of it and all this other stuff. Let your community members, your sisters and brothers in this community help give you some ideas and be like, hey, don't worry about it. Look, okay, so you got a $10,000 bump, save the additional 50, do the other, do what you want with the other 50% or something like that. If you're not feeling motivated, tell us why, so that we can, give you some encouragement, maybe give you some scripture, or let you know that we're praying with you, those types of things. That's what I want this to be. So use the community as your support system. And then lastly, long-term financial health. So staying a part of this community is going to be crucial to financial literacy and your skills. So when you do that, when you're continuously improving it, your knowledge is going up. Remember, our people perish for a lack of knowledge. Well, within this community, you're not going to have a lack of knowledge when it relates to finance. You're just going to continue to increase your personal development as it relates to finance. And so therefore, it's going to attract more money to you. You're going to stay informed on financial trends. Don't worry about that. The community, I'm going to take care of that for you. So you'll be able to stay on top of things, what's happening with the investments market, the real estate market, all those things. You'll come in the community, see what's going on as I post the different things and different resources. So you'll know what to do and how to move. Keep an eye on your future security. So your retirement and your legacy plan. Have these things written down somewhere, maybe on a computer screen, so you can see your goals and where you want to be when it pops up. Have it on your phone, have it posted in your home, in your car, so that you can keep these things first and foremost, so that you stay motivated to what you're doing. Remember, we need to repeatedly have these things visually in front of our subconscious mind, and then we need to be able to tell our subconscious mind so that we start to make these financial adjustments and it becomes second nature to us. All right. So this was lesson 3 of module 2. Catch you guys down the road.